Hello everyone, I am Julian Morris with the Channel 5 News. In the headlines, redundancy matters to be discussed as Fortune Hotel plans to lay off 43 employees. A renewed call for dock workers to be recognized for their contribution as frontline workers in the fight against COVID-19. And a warning to Dominicans to take the 2020 hurricane season seriously. The details coming up.
Avec Flow, animé on top up, sign up, Kiteo, every video join Flow. It only gets better with Flow.
Flow terms and conditions apply.
When you feel a sneeze or a cough coming, covering your mouth prevents the spread of germs. You probably knew that. But the way you cover up also matters, and that means breaking a habit you've held near and dear all your life. Cover your nose and mouth with your flexed elbow or a tissue, not your hands. Discard the used tissue immediately. Then wash your hands. Help stop the spread of germs. Remember, your health is your responsibility.
A message by the Health Promotion Unit of the Ministry of Health, Wellness and New Health Investment, Dominica.
Flow helps you stay connected to what matters. Simple plans and a better network mean that you can enjoy 7 days of unlimited social messaging, 3 gigabytes of reliable data to use as you like, 700 local anywhere calls and texts with the always-on prepaid plan, all for $29. Keep your number when you switch to Dominica's most reliable LTE network. Buy wherever you top up. Switch to Flow. It only gets better.
Away $40,000 in cash, 2 bags of money plus a grand every Friday.
With Flow is better every day, and now we're making parties great. That's 3 ways that you can play. So listen up.
Top up.
$10 or more.
Sign up.
Just switch to Flow.
Get a plan.
1 gig or more. If you want to win cash galore.
With Flow.
Win a bag of money.
Cash out.
Get a bag of money. What you gonna do with a bag of money? From Flow.
So top up, get a plan, or switch now to win. It only gets better with Flow.
Flow terms and conditions apply.
A new in-home experience is here. All your services bundled into one simple plan. Faster, more reliable Wi-Fi so that you can binge, play, and stream uninterrupted. Unlimited Flow local landline minutes mean you can talk and talk and talk. Plus the best in TV entertainment with over 120 channels and 29 in HD. All for $160 a month with the new all-in bundle. With Flow, it only gets better.
First up in the news, Dominicans warned the 2020 hurricane season will not be business as usual. Here is Andrea Louis with more.
The warning from Acting Program Officer Viola Pascal as the country observes Hazard Awareness Week. Hazard Awareness Week, also known as Hurricane Preparedness Week, is recognized in the final week of May, and this year runs from 25th to 31st May. The purpose of the week is to sensitize the public on hurricane hazards and the need to be prepared from the individual level to the national level. The official start of the hurricane season is 1st June, and this year the season is predicted to be an active one, with 13 to 19 named storms, 6 to 10 of which could become hurricanes, 3 to 6 of which could develop into major hurricanes. Acting Program Officer with the Office of Disaster Management, Viola Pascal, says the office has taken the COVID-19 outbreak into consideration for the preparedness of the upcoming hurricane season.
We can all agree that it is not business as usual, and all plans must now incorporate COVID-19 guidelines. Field visits with disaster committees on a limited basis, of course, will be done on Wednesday, and on Thursday, the ODM will facilitate a national online training to improve situational awareness during disasters in collaboration with the University of Bournemouth. Saturday is dubbed Community Cleanup Day, and this is where the general public can play a greater role. So the ODM is encouraging persons who can to do some form of preparedness activity, such as clearing drains around your homes, or trimming overhang trees, or even to assist senior citizens in your community to be prepared for the season. But continue to practice physical distancing guidelines while you carry out these activities. And we are asking churches on both Saturday and Sunday to pray for the country for an impact-free season.
Dominicans were further warned that preparedness is key during the hurricane season, and the public was further cautioned to seek information from credible sources.
This week gives us an opportunity to put plans in place. As you know, where one fails to plan, one plans to fail. And being informed is among the first steps towards being prepared. As we have always said, it only takes one system to cause damage, and preparedness is key. By now, persons should have their preparedness plans in place. Throughout the season, the public should keep informed of the latest weather information. Be aware of your surroundings and be ready to take quick action to protect yourselves and your family. As always, get your information from the designated authorities, and remember to always follow the health authority guidelines for COVID-19.
The 6-month-long hurricane season runs until 30th November.
Minister for National Security Reuben Blackmore says the impact of COVID-19 has brought to the fore additional demands and challenges for hurricane preparedness this year. But Mr. Blackmore told a NEPO meeting this week Dominicans are able to rise to the challenge. The National Security Minister says based on the Hurricane Maria experience, all should be prepared for this hurricane season. He says his ministry has ensured that the relevant stakeholders are actively involved in preparing for the 2020 hurricane season. Subcommittees of NEPO have been meeting to ensure that the necessary provisions are in place. Blackmore says government is committed to investing in hurricane shelters. He has also commended the Ministry of Agriculture for its efforts in promoting food security. 43 employees of Fort Young Hotel who had been on no-pay leave will now be laid off. Gregor Nassif says from the middle of March to the end of April, Fort Young tried to maintain a level of operation to keep as many of the staff on payroll as possible to cushion the impact of this evolving COVID-19 crisis. He says they were also trying to get a grip on how long the economy would take to improve and were also waiting to understand the details of the government's stimulus plan. Mr. Nassif says in the current circumstances, the recovery will take much longer, and comforted by the fact that the government stimulus will provide a level of income support, he says the company thinks now is the appropriate time to move to the layoff scenario. He adds Fort Young needs to focus on its financial health and future because the crisis will last longer than they had hoped. Secretary-Treasurer of the Waterfront and Allied Workers Union, Curtis Augusta, says Fort Young contacted the union on Monday to advise of a plan to lay off over 43 employees. Augusta says among the company's concerns was uncertainty as to when the country's economy would reopen.
In that discussion, they in fact informed us that some 43 members of staff would be placed on layoff. We understood and we anticipated that the management would probably go this way because of the closure and the lockdown that Dominica is experiencing, both in relation to sea and airport. And since the greater part of their business is in terms of the tourist trade and the tourist industry, we could understand them taking the position that they took. Earlier on, they did in fact ask workers to request no pay leave for a period. And we in the union had a difficulty with that because we were saying that no pay leave and layoff tantamounts to the same. The people would not be getting any income for that period. But Mr. Nassif did in fact explain to me that he could not use the possibility of bringing people for shorter periods because then he would be in contravention of the law. I am still hoping to get an opinion on this because I was of the view that since we had a long and established relationship, that he could have in fact just inform us and tell us that he intended to use that process of re-engaging people. But then he told me that he didn't want to be in contravention of the law, and I understood where he was coming from.
WOW hopes to hold discussions with the management of Fort Young with regard to redundancy with respect to an employee.
That particular employee worked with the Fort Young Hotel in excess of 22 years, and therefore would only get redundancy payment based on the law up to the maximum of 22. But what we are concerned about is the formula and the payment that they are going to use. Is it only the basic pay, or is it the basic pay plus the service charge that they have received over the period of time? I am of the opinion that an average service charge could be worked out and added to the basic salary and then compute the redundancy on that basis. I would not be negotiating in the public, but these are just my thoughts in this. So it's obvious that I will be holding some discussions with the management in that regard, because I think that it would only be reasonable to use that approach, because really and truly, the average wage of the employee of Fort Young would be their basic pay plus their service charge. And it's only reasonable to take an average to so determine what their actual pay would have been.
You are watching Channel 5 News. We'll have more after this.
Flow helps you stay connected to what matters. Simple plans and a better network mean that you can enjoy 7 days of unlimited social messaging, 3 gigabytes of reliable data to use as you like, 700 local anywhere calls and texts with the always-on prepaid plan, all for $29. Keep your number when you switch to Dominica's most reliable LTE network. Buy wherever you top up. Switch to Flow. It only gets better.
Si ou ni maladie HIV et bien maladie sexuelle, si ou pas protéger corps lò ka ni sexe ek plusieurs moun, sa kay mette la vie ou a gros danger. Ou ka expose tout partner ou poison et que tant ki ka vini ek maladie a. Servi yo kondom chaque fois ou ka ni sexe. Change ki, y est important pour découvrir maladie a bonheur ou sa vive en bon santé même si ou ni maladie HIV. Prends responsabilité, protéger corps et puis les autres. Examiner corps. Aidez du bout si même maladie HIV et l'autre maladie sexuelle.
With Flow, when I bag our money, cash out. Get a bag of money. What you gonna do with a bag of money? Yeah. From Flow.
Yo, check this. Flow is giving away $30,000 in cash.
Oh, yeah.
2 bags of money plus a grand every Friday.
With Flow is better every day, and now we're making parties great. That's 3 ways that you can play. So listen up.
Top up,
$10 more.
sign up,
Just switch to Flow.
get a plan.
1 gig or more. If you wanna win cash galore.
With Flow,
Win a bag of money.
cash out.
Get a bag of money. What you gonna do with a bag of money? Yeah. From Flow.
So top up, get a plan, or switch now to win. It only gets better with Flow.
Flow terms and conditions apply.
When you feel a sneeze or a cough coming, covering your mouth prevents the spread of germs. You probably knew that. But the way you cover up also matters, and that means breaking a habit you've held near and dear all your life. Cover your nose and mouth with your flexed elbow or a tissue, not your hands. Discard the used tissue immediately. Then wash your hands. Help stop the spread of germs. Remember, your health is your responsibility.
A message by the Health Promotion Unit of the Ministry of Health, Wellness and New Health Investment, Dominica.
Avec flow, gagnez l'argent, on partit l'argent avec flow. Gagnez l'argent, on gros sac l'argent. C'est juste ça pour gagner un gros sac l'argent avec flow. Animez on top up, sign up, quittez yo, et venez joindre flow. It only gets better with flow.
Flow terms and conditions apply.
A new in-home experience is here. All your services bundled into one simple plan. Faster, more reliable Wi-Fi so that you can binge, play, and stream uninterrupted. Unlimited Flow local landline minutes mean you can talk and talk and talk. Plus the best in TV entertainment with over 120 channels and 29 in HD, all for $160 a month with the new all-in bundle. With Flow, it only gets better.
Thank you for staying with us. There is a repeated call now for dock workers to be recognized as among the frontline workers in the fight against COVID-19. WOW's Secretary-Treasurer shared part of a May Day address in which he calls for the recognition of dock workers and their contribution as frontline workers during the COVID-19 crisis.
We have the situations where it appears that dock workers are not considered or were not considered as frontline workers. In that May Day address, I stated, we must recognize the signal contribution of dock workers and seamen in Dominica, and indeed the world, who have maintained the supply chain link in ensuring that the supply of much needed food and pharmaceuticals to the world at great risk and much inconvenience to themselves, in that they could not join or visit their families occasioned by the shutdown of the borders of countries, including Dominica, in an attempt to stop the spread of the virus, thus making it impossible to travel either by sea or, for that matter, by air. We must hail, therefore, the significant contribution of dock workers in that regard. I have found that regularly the frontline workers that are being talked about, and we ourselves have indicated our thanks and gratefulness for those workers. But those that have been identified have been such as doctors, nurses, lab technicians, drivers, dietitians, cook, policemen, fire and ambulance service department workers, orderlies, ward aides, and meal delivery staff, to name a few. Very seldom one hears of dock workers and their contribution.
Augustus believes income support would be one way in which port workers could be rewarded for their contribution, particularly as they are earning less at this time.
Today, I was informed that port workers are not working as regular as they used to before. And in fact, whereas before certain ships were coming into our ports with 60, 70, 80, and 90 containers, the amount that they are coming in today is like 28 and 31. And that impacts the earning capacity of port workers. So making that contribution and realizing a shortfall, if you want to call it so, in their income occasioned by the reduction of containers being handled by our port workers we have to state that the port workers are making their contribution, and such contribution must be recognized in our beautiful Dominica.
And a strain on already limited resources during the bushfire season. We go again to Andrea Louis for more.
The dry season or bushfire season sees the fire department responding to numerous bushfires around the island, particularly on the west coast. Today, the Fire and Ambulance Department has responded to over 200 calls, and Fire Chief Josiah Dupee says while it has put pressure on the department, fire officers are committed to doing the task at hand.
It's not just about the frequency of calls, but the fact that you are likely to have to respond to multiple calls at the same time. And therefore, it does put tremendous strain on our resources, from personnel to our equipment. And yes, we do need additional equipment. There is always going to be that need, I must say. And at present, our needs are really acute. I still want to say, though, that notwithstanding the needs that we have for equipment as at present, it doesn't always mean that because you have more equipment that you can respond to every fire. But fundamentally, yes, it does put a bit of strain on the resource that we have, and there is need for additional resource. And we are anticipating that these needs will be answered to shortly.
The number of bushfire calls thus far is much higher than that of last year, leading to the fire department unable to attend to all bushfires on some occasions.
It was a challenging season for us, especially when we have dry spells. And this year, again, has proven to be extremely challenging. We had situations where we had in excess of 4 bushfires to attend at the same time. And so the officers at the station here at headquarters, and the same is true for Portsmouth, for example, St. Joseph, where you have to basically decide which one do you go to first. In some instances, we had to leave one fire, although not fully extinguished, and divert our resources to another area.
While environmental factors such as rainfall or lack thereof can have an impact on the number of bushfires, human action has been highlighted as the key culprit in the start and spread of such fires.
We are coming towards the end, in fact, of the bushfire season, or what is traditionally called the Kawem. And our numbers of bushfires at present exceeds 250. This is high by our normal standards. Research is very clear on this, that bushfires seldom, if ever, happen on their own. It is possible, but very unlikely. And I would say that for the most part in Dominica, the brush fires that we see are set by individuals. So this is really a plea from the fire service, asking for the cooperation of, Jane and John Doe to be mindful about what we do during this season.
The majority of bushfire calls came from the Roseau area, which, according to the fire chief, spans from Soufriere in the south to Meru in the north.
A new in-home experience is here. All your services bundled into one simple plan. Faster, more reliable Wi-Fi so that you can binge, play, and stream uninterrupted. Unlimited flow local landline minutes mean you can talk and talk and talk. Plus the best in TV entertainment with over 120 channels and 29 in HD. All for $160 a month with the new all-in bundle. With Flow, it only gets better.
Avec Flow, gagner l'argent, on partit l'argent avec Flow. Gagner l'argent, on consacre l'argent. flow. Animate on top up. Sign up. Kiteo. Every finish when flow. It only gets better with flow.
Flow terms and conditions apply.
Here are some tips to reduce mosquito presence in and around your home. Keep water storage containers properly covered. Remove containers that can collect water from your surroundings. Keep garbage bins tightly covered. Pick up your litter and remove all tires from your yard. Keep gutters free of leaves and twigs to prevent stagnant water. Prevent Zika, dengue, and chikungunya. Fight the bite. This is a public service announcement from the Dominica Red Cross.
This message is supported by Flow.
Flow helps you stay connected to what matters. Simple plans and a better network mean that you can enjoy 7 days of unlimited social messaging, 3 gigabytes of reliable data to use as you like, 700 local anywhere calls and texts with the always-on prepaid plan, all for $29. Keep your number when you switch to Dominica's most reliable LTE network. Buy wherever you top up. Switch to Flow. It only gets better.
Away $30,000 in cash, 2 bags of money plus a grand every Friday.
With Flow is better every day, and now we're making parties great. That's 3 ways that you can play. So listen up.
Top up.
$10 or more.
Sign up.
Just switch to Flow.
Get a plan.
1 gig or more. If you want to win cash galore.
With Flow.
Win a bag of money.
Cash out.
Get a bag of money. What you gonna do with a bag of money? From Flow.
So top up, get a plan, or switch now to win. It only gets better with Flow.
Flow terms and conditions apply.
To end the news, a look again at the headlines. Redundancy matters to be discussed as Fortune Hotel plans on laying off 43 employees. A renewed call for dock workers to be recognized for their contribution as frontline workers in the fight against COVID-19. And a warning to Dominicans to take the 2020 hurricane season seriously. You may access the news on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the production team, I'm Julian Morris. Thank you for watching. Join us tomorrow.